Though divided by borders, united by blood, the India-Pakistan conflict chronicles. The manila envelope arrived at Professor Amrita Khan's office on an otherwise unremarkable Tuesday afternoon. No return address, just her name scrawled in fading blue ink. Inside was a single black and white photograph, two young men in military uniforms standing arm in arm, their faces nearly identical, twins undoubtedly, yet one wore the insignia of India, the other of Pakistan. Scribbled on the back in the same fading ink, "The truth dies with me. Look deeper. Kashmir, 1965. Amrita's hands trembled. Her grandfather had fought in that war but never spoke of it. Now, 3 decades after his death, this mysterious delivery threatened to unravel everything she thought she knew about her family, and about the bloody history that had torn the subcontinent apart. What follows is not just the story of nations at war, but of brothers against brothers, of families split by artificial borders, and of secrets buried beneath the weight of history. Partition's open wound, 1947-1948. The First India-Pakistan War began before either nation had fully formed. As the hands of the colonial clock struck midnight on August 14, 1947, the British Raj fractured into 2 independent nations. What should have been a moment of celebration instead unleashed one of history's largest mass migrations. Approximately 14 million people displaced, with estimates of up to 2 million deaths in the communal violence that followed. Within weeks, irregular forces from Pakistan infiltrated Kashmir, a princely state with a Muslim majority but Hindu ruler. The Maharaja, initially hesitant, signed the instrument of accession to India when faced with the advancing forces. By October 27th, Indian troops were airlifted into Srinagar, beginning a conflict that would officially last until January 1, 1949. When a UN-mandated ceasefire established the Line of Control, LOC, that still divides Kashmir today. The real mystery of this period lies not in the military actions, but in what diplomatic records later revealed. Both sides had opportunities for peaceful resolution that were deliberately sabotaged by hardliners. Recently declassified British intelligence files suggest that certain officials on both sides actively undermined peace initiatives, believing that only through conflict could the Kashmir question be definitively resolved. The Forgotten War, 1965. 17 years later, tensions erupted again. Operation Gibraltar, Pakistan's covert plan to infiltrate Kashmir and incite local uprising against Indian control, was discovered prematurely. The operation, named after the mountain from which the Muslim conquest of Spain was launched, was far more ambitious than historians initially realized. What historians now call the Second Kashmir War lasted just 17 days in September 1965, but saw some of the largest tank battles since World War II. The conflict ended in stalemate through Soviet-brokered negotiations at Tashkent, with both sides returning to pre-war boundaries. Recently uncovered military archives reveal that neither side fully understood the other's capabilities or intentions. India didn't anticipate Pakistan's willingness to expand the conflict beyond Kashmir, while Pakistan overestimated the support they would receive from local Kashmiris. Both sides claimed victory, despite achieving none of their strategic objectives. The most perplexing aspect of this conflict emerged decades later when historians discovered that secret back-channel negotiations had nearly achieved a lasting settlement just weeks before fighting broke out. The diplomats involved in these talks mysteriously disappeared from public service afterward, their records scrubbed from official histories. 13 days that changed everything. 1971. The most decisive conflict between the nations didn't begin as an India-Pakistan war at all, When East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, declared independence following years of economic exploitation and cultural suppression by West Pakistan, civil war erupted. The Pakistani military response was brutal. Estimates suggest between 300,000 and 3 million civilians were killed, with systematic rape used as a weapon of war. As millions of refugees poured into India, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi saw both humanitarian crisis and strategic opportunity. On December 3, 1971, Pakistan launched preemptive airstrikes against Indian bases, officially beginning the war. Just 13 days later, 93,000 Pakistani troops surrendered in Dhaka, the largest military surrender since World War II. This decisive Indian victory permanently altered the balance of power in South Asia. Pakistan, having lost its eastern wing, refocused its identity and strategic calculations. The humiliation of defeat fueled determination to achieve nuclear deterrence, a goal realized in 1998 when both nations tested nuclear weapons within weeks of each other. What's rarely discussed in official histories is how close the conflict came to drawing in superpowers. Declassified American documents reveal that the Nixon administration considered naval intervention on Pakistan's behalf, while Soviet naval vessels shadowed the U.S. fleet in the Bay of Bengal. The world stood closer to nuclear confrontation than at any time since the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Shadow War, Kargil, 1999. In the winter of 1998 to 99, Pakistani forces and backed militants secretly crossed the line of control in Kashmir's Kargil district, occupying strategic heights overlooking a vital Indian supply route. When Indian shepherds reported unusual activity in May 1999, they unwittingly exposed one of the most audacious military gambits in modern warfare. The ensuing conflict, technically limited to the Kargil sector but threatening full-scale war between newly declared nuclear powers, demonstrated how the rules had fundamentally changed. International pressure, particularly from the United States, forced Pakistan to withdraw despite tactical advantages. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif later claimed he had been kept in the dark about the operation's full extent by military leaders under General Pervez Musharraf. What remains mysterious about Kargil is the timing. Why would Pakistan risk international condemnation and possible nuclear escalation so soon after both countries had demonstrated nuclear capabilities? Some analysts suggest the operation was designed to internationalize the Kashmir issue. Others believe it represented a strategic miscalculation based on misreading Indian resolve. The beyond conventional war, the present. As Professor Amrita Khan pieced together the connections between the mysterious photograph and the conflicts that had shaped her family's destiny, she realized that the most significant war between India and Pakistan wasn't found in conventional military histories at all. The longest-running conflict between these nuclear neighbors has been fought in the shadows, through espionage, proxy forces, diplomatic maneuvering, and competing historical narratives. Since 2001, terrorist attacks like the Indian Parliament attack, 2001, and Mumbai attacks, 2008, have repeatedly brought the nations to the brink of war. Pulwama attack in 2019 and subsequent airstrikes represented the closest the countries have come to full-scale conflict in decades. Yet behind these headline events, a more complex relationship exists. Despite the animosity, trade has periodically flourished between the nations. Cultural connections from cricket to cinema remain strong. And families like Amrita's span the artificial border, their personal histories more nuanced than official narratives allow. The photograph that started her journey revealed a truth both nations prefer to forget, that the enemies on either side of the line of control share more than just contested territory. They share blood culture and a history that predates the borders that now divide them. The mystery Amrita uncovered wasn't just about what happened in Kashmir in 1965. It was about how nations construct narratives that serve present purposes, sometimes at the expense of historical truth. And it was about how, despite 75 years of conflict, the peoples of India and Pakistan remain inextricably connected, divided by borders but united by blood.